So I started a new game and was planning on running Lost Mines of Phandelver into Princes of the Apocalypse. My first session went kinda crummy. One player hadn't made their character despite having weeks and weeks. Another decided to go chaotic neutral crazy person. It's what my character would do. Another player said, I'll flip a coin as a tiebreaker, which became, I flip a coin to decide if I'm gonna be evil or not. Then, lastly, we have my girlfriend, who just wants a group of heroes doing cool-ish. That's what I wanted as well, but instead we ended up with a circus. To top all of that off, I felt like I did my job as the DM. Let them play out their silly quirks to do their thing, but after seeing the characters in action, I have lost every ounce of enthusiasm and confidence in continuing this game. Advice is certainly welcome, but honestly, I'm just venting frustration. Yeah, that's why you have a session 0. If you did and people still don't listen, then that's when you and your girlfriend peace out. Hello everyone and welcome back to the one and only Bear Bard Tales. It is I, your intrepid hero, the one bear brave enough to... Okay, you know what? Let me just pull this bad boy out. This is directly for the director James Gunn, or anyone else who will be involved with the new DC universe, and specifically the show Paradise Lost. For those of you not in the know, it'll be a show about Wonder Woman's people from before she was born, and takes place in Themyscira. Now, if you hear a show with strong female characters based on Greek mythology and your first thought isn't the 90s classic Xena Warrior Princess, then, well, you need some culture. Now, back to James. Hey, can I call you James? This show should be a slam dunk, and the easiest show you'll do. Just make Xena. You can even just show the original Xena and just dub over a couple lines and change the names. It would be perfect. I, for one, would watch the whole thing. You can even keep the crossover with Hercules. Or if that ended up being a licensing problem, for some reason, then just bring back Lucy Lawless and remake it. Again, slam dunk here. Also, yeah, I am available to hire. Oh, you need a name to send that ideas check to? Well then, you can make it out to the Bear Bard. Oh, and for spelling, that's 7 E's I use there. Now today, I will mention nothing more of the other 90s classic Titanic, as people had some very strong opinions last week. I will, however, talk about a DM who at best was unprepared and signed up to do too much an official event, or at worst, was a monster sent from the depths of the 9 hells itself to, well, waste people's time. Which, as we all know, should be a punishable offense. Before we get started, however, if you like this channel and you want to hear more from the Bear Bard, make sure to give the channel a sub. Every sub I get gets me one step closer to meeting Mr. James Gunn himself to make sure this Wonder Woman show is made how it should be. Don't worry, Miss Lawless, I got you. If you want to help support the channel further, remember you can look into my Ko-Fi, where you can sign up for a membership, a one-time tip, pick up a sticker, or even commission me for a few lines. And with that, let's get to today's first story titled, How the Worst GM in Living Greyhawk Robbed Me of My Mithril Breastplate. I just realized that I had an RPG horror story and I was dying to tell it. First, I have to set the stage a little. This event was back in the days of Living Greyhawk, awesome worldwide campaign designed to include literally hundreds of 4-hour adventures each year. Some regions were famous for having better loot written into their adventures. The relevant metagaming was that there was a specific adventure known to reward success with access to Mithril. Mithril was extremely rare. I really wanted my character to get a Mithril breastplate. Ergo, I arranged specifically to travel to that region, to play that specific adventure, with a specific character to have a chance to end up with the Mithril breastplate. The DM gives a cursory introduction to the scenario, and after quick introductions around the table, the party is given instructions by an NPC that the dwarves in the mines are in urgent need of help. The party composition is nothing particularly memorable. I do know that we had no methods of detecting traps before they were triggered, and I suspect my bard may have been the most survivable character. DM, you're at the beginning of a long, straight tunnel, heading toward the mountain. What do you do? Me, Bard. I'm the only one with dark vision, but I have an ever-burning torch. I'll hand my torch to anyone that wants to carry it and lead the way into the tunnel. Rest of party? Yeah, the fighter straps the torch to his shield and we follow the Bard. DM, you enter the tunnel. What now? Me, well, do we see or hear anything? We'll just keep going till we see or hear something. DM, you go 100 feet and don't notice anything. What do you do now? Me, we literally keep going until we notice something different or we get tired. DM, You've now traveled 200 feet. You haven't noticed anything. What do you do now? Me. I'm sorry, my character is trying to find the dwarves. She's got endurance. She's not afraid of the dark. As a player, I expect that eventually the party will either trigger a trap or an ambush or both. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep moving as fast as I can, convince the slowest party members to travel down the tunnel until we get attacked. DM. Okay, you go down another 500 feet. Nothing happens. What do you do now? Somewhere in here, we all brainstormed possible solutions. I think we dropped arrows, attempted to detect magic. I think we split the party by a few hundred feet because I think the teleport back 200 feet trap was already a pretty well-known trap at that point. We tried everything we could think of, both in character and out. Eventually, we figured that even if it was just a flaw on our part, composition, or lacking a crucial skill, it is certainly possible my bard had neglected dungeoneering or whatever, or we rolled low on some check or another. We decided that our only option was to press forward. Worst case, we would eventually have to stop and rest, and at that point we could turn around and go back to the start. This insanity continued for over an hour. We have spent almost half the available time in a 4-hour event and have accomplished absolutely nothing. The way these scenarios are written, there are usually between 3 and 6 encounters, sometimes combat, sometimes puzzles, and sometimes RP with skill checks, but rarely less than 3 combats. I'm getting increasingly irritable. Me. Look, we are clearly not communicating. You don't have to keep asking us that over and over. We keep going until you have to tell us something other than, nothing happens, what do you do now? We have wasted almost 2 hours of this time slot. We probably won't even have enough time to finish. We keep traveling down the tunnel until we are forced to stop to exhaustion or we trigger the trap or an ambush or whatever, okay? I think he finally acquiesced and had us trigger both the trap and the ambush. It was brutal, but we survived. DM. Now what do you do? Me. I heal everyone to full with my wand of cure light wounds and keep heading down the effing tunnel until we detect anything. The ambush might have been only halfway to the dwarves, so we might have a long way to go. Let's hurry. DM. You travel 200 more feet and detect nothing. What do you do? I am losing my mind at this point. I want to just strangle this guy. Undoubtedly the worst GM I have ever met before or since. I've been trying to be polite and nice to the DM. Maybe he's new. I had been desperately trying not to make a scene. Mithril breastplate. Don't cuss out the DM for being an incompetent buffoon. Mithril breastplate. Don't let the situation devolve into physical violence. Mithril breastplate. I don't remember what happened specifically. I think I went and complained to the convention coordinator that the DM was utterly incompetent. Ultimately, we managed one more fight and ran out of time. And because we had defeated less than half the encounters, the DM ruled that we had been unsuccessful at getting the mithril boon. My suspicion is that the DM had failed to get the boon himself, and he was doing his best to ensure other players didn't get the boon. Although I also suspect he may have also just been a stupid, untalented hack that was only running games to get a free pass to the convention. TLDR, yes, the DM literally wasted over 2 hours having us walk a few miles down a tunnel repeating, you didn't notice anything. What do you do now? Also, in my defense, WW could have been wrong. It would have taken at most 20 minutes for the GM to eventually respond with, okay, you continue walking for X hours and are tired and hungry, what now? The sum total of the distance we traveled, or thought we had traveled, wasn't more than a few miles at most, hence my frustration with the GM. I'm gonna make a little confession for all of you. I'm a bit of an angry driver. While in all other aspects of my life, I like to think of myself as a calm, relaxed person. When driving, I go from 0 to 100 real quick. This story gives me rush hour vibes so hard. And I'm not talking about the Jackie Chan version. This idea of trying to push forward and progress while being stopped every 3 feet for some dumb BS that's so unnecessary it physically hurts. Now this is where I go back to the statement from before the story and the OP's comments. At best, this guy wanted into the event for free, and instead of practicing with friends in a low-stakes environment, he decided to GM officially at the event, clearly being underprepared and not having enough social awareness to pick up on the party's cries for help as he just kept going. At worst, he's a dick that jacked the party around. Now, I'm not familiar with the event in question, although it does sound cool, so I'm not sure if the DM stood to benefit from that situation or if he was, in the infamous words of Alfred, just looking to watch the world burn. Flow is such an important part of the gaming experience. I would venture to call it one of, if not the most underrated aspects. The thing is, like with any story being told, you can have all the amazing characters, story elements, imagery, and imagination involved. But if the pace does not keep people interested, then it's all useless. Especially in this space where people are so prone to look at their phones or get distracted. You need to keep things moving. You have to learn to either keep the story driving forward and skip the mundane, or make the mundane feel like more than it is. Add elements that matter. Give the party chances for encounters, whether it's a battle, a mystery, a puzzle, or even just some fluff that makes the world feel more alive. Don't just have them walk 3 feet at a time and then point out how little they're doing. Here, I'll give you 3 examples and you can choose for yourself which game you'd rather play in. You move forward 200 feet, what now? You move forward 300 feet, what now? Ugh, cool. You and your party travel for what feels like hours, seeing nothing of note in your torchlight. As you begin to despair, you come across a gateway with 3 skulls and a hammer behind each. See, more engaging and skips the middle to get to the next thing. And finally, your party begins their descent into the abyss. The firelight from the torch bouncing off the stone around you, but unable to penetrate the seemingly endless darkness. And what's your passive? 14? Cool. You notice that to your right, the ground actually starts to incline. It is not heading in the direction you're currently headed. Would you like to investigate? And here we have a chance to turn what would have been just a bit of travel into more. Now, this you could argue is a bit leading. You've hopefully built up the rapport with your group for them to know when what you're offering is just extra or it's needed. Remember, in this space, you have the control. Either skip the extra or pack it in with more interesting stuff. Don't waste the precious time you have, and please learn to read a room. And now changing it up for Not a Bear Facts with Professor Bearbard. The Binturong, Arcticus binturong, also known as the bear cat, is a viverend native to South and Southeast Asia. This terrifying little bastard is neither a bear nor a cat. Instead, the Viveridae is a family of small to medium-sized feliform mammals, many of which tend to be more weasel-like in appearance, but in reality, they're somewhere between a cat and a weasel. The Binturong is long and heavy with short, stout legs. It has a thick coat of coarse black hair and a prehensile tail. These largely arboreal mammals have been shown to be active at all times of day. They have an omnivorous diet made up of small mammals, rodents, insects, and fruit. Currently, the bear cat is considered critically endangered. Let us hope that our non-bear cousins can get the help they need to flourish again. Thank you, Professor. While not a bear, you never like hearing about an animal going the way of the dodo. On the happier side of things, though, let's get to today's Bearbard's Cave of Art and Wonders. This week's submission is brought to us by a very active member of the Discord, Mr. Charles E. Cheese. It was actually my first contest entry I received. Literally the day I posted the video, I received the Bearbard Space Rave 3000. I really love this submission. It made me feel a lot better about having put on the contest in the first place. There's so much fun personality in this picture and really captured what I was looking for when I decided the sci-fi setting. Thank you so much for the submission. It still makes me smile when I see it. Now, with all that out of the way, if you enjoyed what you heard today, make sure to like the video and give the channel a sub. If you want to help support the channel further, remember you can look into my Ko-Fi where you can sign up for a membership, a one-time tip, pick up a sticker, or even commission me for a few lines. If you want to check out the Bearbard in other forms, you can check out my Discord, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. You can also check out the Bearbard Tales podcast, available pretty much everywhere. Before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to my Ko-Fi subscribers. At the Bear Council tier, we have Mr. Hypocritical. At the Big Bear tier, we have Den of the Drake, Mr. Mint, Armandeus, Skydiving Ellen, and Dave Haggerty. At the Mossy tier, we have Novatonics and the Reuben Gritters. Thank you all so much for the support. It means the world to me. For now, though, this has been the Bearbard. Remember to stay kind, stay beautiful, and keep on living that bard life.